Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic, and this is another reaction to Death Note. It is episode 18, and as always, if you want to see the reaction itself, just go down into my descriptions, follow the links, replace the parentheses dot parts with real dots, and enjoy. Once you've done, feel free to come back here and hear my thoughts about this episode. So, see you soon. To those that came back, welcome back. Now, well, good episode. I last time kind of discussed about the fact that Light would be investigating against Kira, and it is kind of true now, but under a little bit of different circumstances, right? Because he is investigating if you see those people who are working for the Yotsuba group as Kira now. Which brings me to the one and first really interesting concept that L threw in the room. This, as I understand it, idea that Kira maybe not just be a person, but is the power, right? This ability to kill people that was used, in the end, the using of the Death Note, and it can be passed on to others. So whoever is having it at the time and using it is Kira. But catching this person does not mean you can catch Kira, because it will just jump on to another person. That is the problem that L sees, and I can completely understand that. And it brings the interesting concept in the room, which we know it isn't true, right? But the idea of that there's like a power or an entity, like Ryuk is, right? That is causing this and can switch bodies. So like another soul or a manifestation that takes over people, uses them, and while it inherits them, they are Kira, and then jumps to another person. That would be a hard problem, because how to catch something like that? Due to the fact that it came out of nowhere and it is not written down anything about stuff like that before, you will really have to start from scratch every time. You will really have to have no option to do it. If it is like a bodiless entity, you cannot do anything. In the end, it is connected to the way that Ryuk is. Right now, from what we know, you cannot catch any Shinigami. So they can interfere with our worlds, but we are not really able to interfere with them. So even if L would be aware of that someone like Ryuk is in the room, as example, he would have no option to keep him there. And I think that is the main problem. L not knowing about the Death Note itself is the main problem, why he has to come up with more and more theories all the time. In the moment that he realizes there is a physical book, there is this Death Note itself, it will all change. That's pretty clear. Although I really have to question if this Death Note is from a Shinigami, who is not able to be seen, who is not really existing in our world, right? How can the Death Note then still be a part of our world? I mean, sure, in the moment that you touch the Death Note, you can see the Shinigami. So you could say the Death Note is in the Shinigami world as well. But it is part of our world. It is physical. Light put it in the drawer, right? He even made this this security system in there. He made other people touch the pages from the Death Note to make him see stuff. He is able to manipulate the Death Note using pen and pencil, as did others like Ray Penbar in the past, who wrote down names. So it is part of this world, but how can that be that it is part of like both worlds? It's a weird thing. I mean, it's the main concept of the show, no question there, right? It's just strange. And seeing that the Shinigami seem to be existence like always and ever, I ask myself if there would be like historical facts about strange things happening. Talking about Shinigami in the past doing similar things like Ryuk is doing now. So is there someone in the past, a moment when a Shinigami gave a Death Note to another human being and he went on a murder spree? possibly not being caught, because how could they? And normally, if something like that is happening, that people are dying in numbers, right? Very fast and weird, and again, you would find something in history books. So maybe this will be someone in the future. However, back to the big question here. Is Kira a real person, or is Kira just the ability to kill, and it is passed from person to person? Right now, investigating the Yotsuba group, L is acting like the Yotsuba group is Kira himself, which makes sense. But he already realized that they are behaving differently than the old Kira did, which, as we know, was light. So he realizes there are differences. Thus, he already got the clue, okay, the power can jump between persons. Which also means that he's pretty sure still that light was Kira. And knowing that, you really have to put the question in the room, if you're sure about that, how can you work together with him? And shouldn't he be punished for his crimes? But then he does not remember them, and as we know, light, it's weird. Light did kill those people, but the light that exists now is kind of innocent because he does not remember doing it and is a more pure version of himself. It's a complicated thing, and I remember that there are like science fiction movies and books as well who did have the concept in as well. If you have a murderer or thief or whatever, right, a criminal, and it was about death as vengeance, as consequence of what you did. So the juridical system would kill people. And then there was the question, what if we would be really able to manipulate the brain, manipulate the person into someone else? The idea of completely erasing the entity that a person is. So the body is still there, and there is a soul, and there is a person who is a worthy member of the society, whatever that means, right? And is not aware that he or she killed in the past, and has a new life, and all is gone, and all is deleted, blank start. Wouldn't that be better for society in general, you know? Instead of cutting off your own limbs, of cutting off your own people, recreating them into a better version. And it is in the end a big question about ethics there, because it is still the same. You kill the person that existed before, you destroy the person that existed before, it is gone. So it is like shooting the person or hanging or whatever. So it is just like an evasion out of it, like we did not really kill, we just manipulated them into someone else. It's a big one, because that is a question that stands in the room for Kira. Whenever they are sure that that Light was the real Kira, will you or will you not put him in jail for that, or even kill him for that? I mean, he did do it, and the version now did not. Just saying. Mind exploding. So that's that. Then we have the whole situation with Misa and Light and L being in one room on a date. That's just, what the heck. Poor girl, man. I like the fact that they went physical, that Light and L punched it out on each other, and I think kind of enjoyed it. I think it was needed between them to kind of clear the air. They have this weird relationship. And the statement from L that he really wanted Light to be Kira is a major one. But I think it is a comment of respect, because he really, really respects Light and his mental capacity. And from the persons he know, I guess, that's my guess, right? He is like, if anyone could be Kira, it should be Light, because he is the one that is the most clever I know. right? I think that it is. And he would be. It's a little bit of patting himself on the back as well, because he kind of lost to Kira multiple times. And realizing later on that Kira was, I don't know, a really stupid person would really hurt his ego. But seeing Kira was Light and knowing how good Light is, how efficient, how clever, how calculating, he would be like, yeah, that was a worthy opponent. It was okay to lose against this one. I guess that's where this comment was coming from. Then we had the problematic and big question in this episode, which is portrayed by this picture here. So whysoever the police now chooses to pull out of it, to not follow along anymore, to kind of get intimidated by Kira, which was weird because they didn't do it in the past and now they do. I mean, there's a lot of time that has passed, so that might be the reason. So they kind of gave in to Kira bribing politicians. So they I think it's a mix. Some politicians possibly took a bribe and in the meaning of not being killed, and ordered the police to stand down, and they do as they are ordered. So it is a big question for everyone in the police force who works on the Kira case now. Do you follow along with your orders, which is don't chase Kira? Or do you say, that's it, I quit, I'm a servant of justice. I'm not just a police officer. I try to bring justice, and being bribed or forced into not following a criminal is a problem with my own morale. All in the room that were there clearly had the same, had not really a struggle with the moral question. They were all of them were like, no, we should follow this case along. And it's not right if the police tells us to not to. But they brought in the problem that sometimes you cannot do what you feel you should do because there are other things that are holding you back. And while we have one young bachelor who is, Matsuda, who is simply able to don't care really much as long as he possibly gets a little bit of money somewhere. And it's like, well, I'm young, so I can start again after this is solved. And we do have the father, the now ex-police chief, who possibly has a little bit of money in the backhand and has a wife who works as well, I think. And that's the main thing, is already way too involved in it due to the fact that his son is the main suspect all the time and is working at this case as well. We do have one last person, and he has something else he has to care about, and that is wife and kids. So he has a family, and that is a main thing they bring in there. It is not only about right and wrong. It is I think about like everyday life. If you think about that, if you are working or something like that, and you have a family or friend or a partner, right? There are those moments that we come to from time to time, like getting a late shift and your boss telling you, hey, you have to take that late shift. I'm not asking, right? You want to, it is this, you want to go further in this company, you want to get a better job in the company, you want to be promoted or maybe earn a little bit more, then you should do something more. So he's like handing you the sugar cane and the whip at the same time. That's a typical thing. And if you're a bachelor, you're like, yeah, whatever. I can sleep all the time at the day and I can eat whenever I want. So it does not matter. But if you're involved with someone in a partnership, and even more if you have children, you're at this position that you have to say, man, I would like to do that because I want to do it. But this late shift here, as example, I can't. I have to pick my child from kindergarten. I have to go with my wife to the opera. I don't know, right? Whatever you are. So you have social stuff that is happening, and you're in this dilemma. Which one is more important? So I know that people do tend to have different answers to that because people put different weight on stuff. There are people who are very much focused around their job and around their work, workaholics not only, but others as well, um, who are going for the job thing and saying, I have more money than I can afford more, I can give my family more. I do that for my family as well. Um, but it is possible that the family foundations are not strong enough and that gets shaken, talking about relationship splitting, divorce, all this bad stuff that may happen. And we have people who are like, man, no chance. It is this wording of work for your life, not live for your work. So they are like, nope, I will not do that. I have a family, I have my girls at home, I have social connections I want to live with, so I'm not doing this extra mile. The other part of extreme, and like, I do not do any late shifts at all. And that might cause other problems as well, like a job saying, man, dude, you're not really involved with that. You do not care about the company, so go along, right? The mix is always the thing. It's where do you find your position in? That is what we all possibly know, kind of. But what we have here in this picture is a major difference thing. So he knows and he feels how important this Kira case is. And he knows it is a thing he should be doing. And everyone, if possibly, should be doing. But then he has to realize, I will lose my job. I have to give up my job to do that. I cannot afford anything for my family anymore. And he already had and mentioned some problems with his family, with his wife especially, of not being around enough. So adding to this, not bringing home any money anymore, and not being allowed to tell his wife why. Don't forget that, right? It's all a mystery. There's a good chance it would destroy them. So he had to take the other route. And I think it is the right one that he chose, even though it is hard for the team now. Which brings me to the moment where Batari joined in and stated something about everyone being secure and stuff like that. And L stating that he used this to question the loyalty. I'm not sure about that. I mean, sure, it was interesting for him as well, which way you choose, and I like to think that it did not matter which decision would have been made, because if you choose your family over that, I think it is a good and human decision, and it tells us a lot about the person, and it's not a negative thing. And Elle even said, after being insulted, I do like you. I do like persons like you. It may be wrong, but I think Elle staged it a little bit and pushed a little bit more to make sure that he leaves, because he was aware that it would destroy his life possibly and wanted to make it easier for him to leave. Just guessing. That it is not easy at all, we've seen in the last scene where he breaks down and cries, being aware that he missed a lot of time with his kid. And you can see what a sweetheart she is, right? She offered half of her food to her father, which is, sharing is caring. But he is aware that it was a hard time and it is a hard decision for him. So he cannot tell his wife. I mean, he's breaking down there and crying and she does not know why. So that will be a weird week, I think. But I think it was the right decision. And I just hope, as hard as it, that that's the last we see of him. May sound weird, but I really hope, because whenever we see a lot of one person in a series, which was not a major player, it happened to be the person that very often died within this or the next episode, just saying. So I just hope we will not see him again, and he will have a happy life as he deserves. We got some new people in. Moga, I don't really know what to think about him yet. So he's very good at his job, but he comes out of nowhere, which is a bit weird, so I'm a little bit suspicious there. And was it Aber? Iber. I should change that. Iber and Vedi. So a conman, and he is, the handsome package, right? So he will try to get into the Yotsuba group, and Vedi, a thief. It makes sense. So now that they pulled out the police, I mean, it's kind of a clever move. The moment that the police is out of the frame, they can and bring in criminals, and it's okay. So a really good thief as well. So we're going into a different kind of setup of the whole group and how they work now. It feels to me like the show is changing here a little bit, because it will be now the investigation group against Yotsuba. I don't know how many episodes this will be, but it feels like a bit of a different vibe. And it is like moving a little bit away from the original idea of following Light Kira. We will get back on track there. So it feels like this is like another arc, seriously. I look forward to it, however, because we may have some interesting insight on Light and how he is investigating stuff. And if we have it, L will have as well. And that might be interesting, because if Light is doing something and explaining it, because he's not aware that he was Kira, right? It might be a moment where L finds a clue by saying, hey, that's exactly what Kira did back then. So it is more likely you are. Just saying, this option of them working together, and without wanting it, Light bringing informations about the Kira case in. Nice episode. Oh, and last but not least, Dead Weight. Yeah, well, Matsuda. What can I say? That was a slap in the face, right? You want to do something useful? Bring me a coffee. That was just mean. Don't take it too harsh. I think it will be better in the future. That's it from me this time. Until the next time, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.